It's another Thursday morning. Good morning. Welcome to AM Today on Osrc television, the 16th day in the month of March. And when you do your calculation, it's about 2 days before Nigerians will again head to poll for the governorship and state houses of assembly election. This is State of the State, where we serve you with the roundup of news making the rounds at this time in Nigeria. I'm Sahid Aribisala. Welcome to the program. I'm not alone this morning. As usual, I have a guest joining me on the program, and he is Barrister Felix Alonge, a political scientist as well, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. And together, we will take a look at the trends and patterns during the presidential and national assembly election. Any consequence or any consequential or ripple effect on the Saturday's election? This will be our main talking point. Good morning, welcome again on the program. Barrister Felix Alonge, good to have you again.
Good morning. I appreciate your media outfit. You are doing a good job for the good people of Nigeria. God bless you.
Talking about doing a good job for the people of Nigeria, the Nigerians who are eligible to participate will again go out, are expected to go out on Saturday for the election. But let's get a feel of what it is like for you. Aside being a political scientist, you are also a politician. That means you're also doing work in some way at this time heading into that election. What exactly is the mood?
Thank you. You know, the presidential and the National Assembly election has come and gone. And we are now focusing on the gubernatorial and the state as assembly elections. But not all the states will have gubernatorial election. Like in Ondo State, we are not having a gubernatorial election. We are only going to have a House of Assembly election in Ondo State. And being a state election is also critical in ensuring that the people enjoy the benefits or dividends of governance and democracy, because this more or less government at the grassroots level, and that is where the governor and the legislators at the House of Assembly will have direct contact with the people. And that is why you see the governors across the 36 states, whether we're going to have gubernatorial election or we're going to have House of Assembly election, they are more determined, even more than the presidential and the National Assembly election, because this is their own election. Because the state House of Assembly is so important in the administration of a particular state. And every governor wants to get it right to make sure that his own party has the majority seat in the legislature, because it will provide an easy right, an opportunity for the enactment of laws and programs of the government if the governor or the party enjoys reasonable seats in the assembly. All right, and that is why more than before, they are very much determined to work, and that is why every one of us is on the feet. Like yesterday, we had a mega rally in my local government in Akoko Southwest, Constituency 1, for our candidate, Honorable Bogo Emmanuel. It was a massive rally. It's a positive way of intimidating. That to intimidate the opponent in the democratic process. But and those who have not decided who to vote for, by what we did yesterday, to the glory of God, they must have made their minds.
So that's a strategy in one way, heading into this particular election. But there's also the side of the debate about what some Nigerians think about rallies at this particular time. They tell you political parties hold rallies, you find people in their thousands, gracing that venue. But of course, some of these parties, when it's time to vote, it appears they do not get commensurate number of votes to those who were present at their rally. We'll leave that aside. But let's put.
Well, let me tell you, the essence of rallies is, in most cases, the undecided voters when they see crowd, they now go back to the drawing board within their conscience. I don't want to waste my vote. I'm not in party A, I'm not in party B, but I want to belong. It appears this person is well accepted in the constituency. So okay, let me be.
So you believe you've done that successfully?
Apart from house to house, personal contact here and there, because it's very, very important.
Right.
For the undecided voters, I think, like what I've done in Oka yesterday, I think we are good to go.
Okay, let's talk about the build-up to the Saturday election. 2 days before the rescheduled governorship and the state assembly election, we have incumbent governors and their challengers making last-minute moves to ensure victory. And the governorship elections, according to INEC timetable released, it says the election would be conducted in 28 of the 36 states of the country. There will be no governorship election in 8 states: Anambra, Bayelsa, Edo, Ekiti, Imo, Kogi, Ondo, and Osun, which are now off-season elections. Well, following the shift in the election by INEC from March 11 to March 18, governors seeking re-election and opposition candidates challenging them are intensifying efforts. When you check dailies, the front page of different dailies in the last few days, it appears that battle is coming to fore at this time, particularly in the race for the governorship seat in some states. We get to spotlight some of those states. We have Lagos. We have Oyo, we have Kaduna also, making the front pages of the dailies in the last few days, and that tells you how intense, perhaps, how the race there is going. But before we get to spotlight all of these issues, yes, particularly how those who are on the field are coping, and what are some of the intrigues that are likely to play out in a few days to that election. Let's take a look at what the outcome of the presidential election was and the impact it's likely to have on this election. There are 2 ways to this thing. Exactly. Some say it could be one that would influence positively on the other elections, the governorship and the state houses of assembly polls that we have. Yeah. But on the other side, there are also some who believe it could be an eye-opener for people, particularly the electorate, to say, we've done this successfully, perhaps we can also do another thing, go for another choice or do something different come that election. What side of the divide do you stand?
Generally, elections in a democratic setting is expected to have bandwagon effect on subsequent elections.
Why is that expectation?
The expectation is that those parties, they have gotten their structure very well. They have their members and they have sympathizers. That is, those who are not party members, but they go along with the policies and programs of the party. So that when a party secures the presidential seat, maybe the president being the president-elect, along the line, in other subsequent elections, particularly in African setting, I don't want to belong to opposition. Let my party, let my community, let my state have a fair share of the national cake. So okay, let's follow. That one is, we have certain degree in how the outcome of the governorship and the House of Assembly elections will be. But it is not a straightforward jacket issue like that, because there are some variables or parameters that influence politics at the local level that may not actually reflect the outcome of the presidential election. Particularly, one of the parties is going to be seriously affected. You have the APC, the PDP, and the Labour Party. One of the parties was more or less called the party was a movement. The movement was tailored towards the presidential. That was the focus. And what in the last 2 or 3 days, you discover that in most states, you discover that Labour Party is aligned with maybe APC, PDP, SDP in many states, because the father figure of the party is not going to be on the ballot. Rather than seeing it as a political party, it was a movement, and that movement was focused on the presidency.
But some persons might not share in this opinion of yours, talking about the alignment and realignment of this particular political party in some states. Because what they tell you is the fact that perhaps these parties, or the Labour Party you've just mentioned, aligning in some states, is a sign that at the last election, it was not as if they did well to say, yes, they stand another chance in this poll. But in other states where they've been able to make some sort of statement, they're still going ahead.
Let me tell you, such statement cannot come at this material time, like in Delta State.
The Labour Party won Delta State in the presidential election.
Won the Delta State. It was because of the dominance of the Igbo in Delta State. Let me tell you, when it comes to the governorship election, everybody will hold on to his own chest. The PDP will want to show that, we are actually in control. This is a local election. What we did at that particular time, we did it on the basis of primordial sentiment. This is Omowani in Yoruba parlance. That's why they voted like that. In Abia State, in Enugu State, in Enugu, but it will not be like that. We are a Labour Party, we have an easy ride. It's in because of the personality of Alex Oti. The man has been on the stage for a long time and been a very good person, as a dogged political fighter, and he's been loved. And you discover that Labour Party had reasonable seat in the Senate and the House of Representatives, so that place is actually sure. And at the same time, you discover that most of these states, because of issue of religion, Muslim ticket, like in Lagos, it's no longer like that.
We'll get to the Lagos conversation.
And part of the scenario had to play out, because like in Lagos, the governor is a Christian. I get, so that argument that the Pentecostal, some of the churches use at that particular time, they are voting for Peter Obi just because of the Muslim ticket of the APC. But the scenario is not going to play out in Lagos again. And at the same time, like in Lagos, most of our people from the eastern part of the country that are in Lagos, they feel so comfortable with Sanwo-Olu that his policies and programs have human face, and that they are living comfortably in Lagos, so that Peter Obi is not in the ticket, is not running the race. Because of that, what we witnessed in Lagos during the presidential is not going to be the same scenario.
In a state like Edo State, and that's also one state that the attention has been on in the last few days. The Labour Party won the presidential election in Edo State, yes. A state that has the People's Democratic Party, Godwin Obaseki, exactly, as the EMS man. Yes. And now there's no governorship election, so yes, Governor Obaseki perhaps it does not have anything to worry about his position. But on the other side, there's also an intense race for the House of Assembly election, where the All Progressives Congress, who got majority of the seats in the National Assembly, appears to be giving the PDP and the governor a hot chase at this time. In that kind of a scenario, don't you think the Labour Party could also once again be a spoiler?
Labour Party cannot be a spoiler
of some sort.
It cannot be a spoiler in the sense that Edo is being seen as part of the eastern part, that they stand to benefit if Peter Obi is able to win the presidential election. And you could see they voted for Peter Obi in the presidential election, but when you look critically at the Senate results and the rep, APC dominated. And what Obaseki did is going to pay the price now, because he was governing the state with less than 9 House of Assembly members, shutting out almost 14. He more or less neglected a sizable number of the people of Edo in his administration, so that the people were not, they voted for certain people, but the governor, despite the judgment of the court that these people should be sworn in as members of the House of Assembly, he was able to display what is called executive despotism.
So that action could likely catch up with the governor.
It's going to affect him seriously. It's going to affect PDP. And even you know that, even with his background, he was in APC before. And he was run the state as on a personal basis, and that I don't be able to assist him. And even the PDP members, they believe that what Osrc was doing in Edo State it's turned to the best interest of the PDP and powerful individuals in Edo State. It was more or less on his own, and because of that, he's not having a backlash in the electoral competition, and that is why in Edo, as far as the state is concerned now, the victory is going to teach towards APC.
All right, that's political scientist in Barrister Felix Alonge coming to bear this time. When you check the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, it says State Assembly poll, fierce battle in Anambra, Edo, Osun, Rivers, others. And when you look at the list of that state, Osun is also in the mix.
Yes.
Should there be a fierce battle in Osun? On the back of the presidential election, the PDP won that state.
Yes.
The incumbent is Governor Adeleke of the PDP also.
Yes.
They also won in the National Assembly election.
Yes.
They swept, the seats in that state. Should there be a fierce battle in Osun?
I could say there's a repeat of what happened in the governorship election, also in the National Assembly election, and the presidential, more or less personality issue. Political gladiators try to show that they have a voice, and they have actually shown it to the power that be. But coming to the issue of the House of Assembly election, particularly the political personality in the APC, because you must have a hold of your constituency. You want to have a voice. And because of that, the scenario that played out that made PDP to dominate the presidential and the national, the Senate and Rep will not be like that. Help it like Aregbesola, the minister. He will not sit back. Throughout the presidential campaign, we didn't see him.
He sat back. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, he sat back. Because he has his own reasons.
So why would he want to come to play?
This particular, his politics is local. He wants to be relevant.
As a matter of fact, Aregbesola, you mentioned, is also in Lagos State. We've had, we've seen him campaigning in Lagos.
And this is what he's thinking.
We've seen him in Lagos. We've seen him campaigning in Lagos for Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Exactly.
Don't you think he has left his own, somehow?
His concentration in Lagos, trying to talk to the Muslim community that, you have benefited substantially from Sanwo-Olu. And it's also the same thing in Osun. But it may not be on the same tempo, because he cannot afford to lose his constituency in a democratic process. And that he has no choice than to work very, very well. The annoyance he had maybe against Oyetola at that particular time, it must not play out in the House of Assembly election, because he must have political relevance in his constituency.
Okay, another state is Oyo. Oyo is also in the news. When you check the dailies at this time, it appears the battle in Oyo is almost more pronounced than other states. You find part of the front page canvassing vote for Governor Seyi Makinde of the PDP. On the other side, you see, a movement also saying the APC candidate, Slim Folarin, should also be voted for in the same newspaper. And it's also perhaps showing that your state is also another tough ground when it comes to this election.
Oyo State is more or less, so to speak.
The APC won Oyo State.
We know that is more or less our center. Oyo is very, very critical to any party that controls the federal. But the performance of Seyi Makinde is going to assist him tremendously. And that is why he's going to have an advantage. And at the same time, he's a man that is also part of the success story in the presidential election.
So, are you saying he worked for the APC?
At least he was able to at least apply some wisdom that in the spirit of the mood of the Yorubas. And that this man deserves to be compensated because he has actually worked very, very hard. That is the president-elect, for him to have a shot at the center. Why not allow? Because Ashwaju is the best material at this point in time. And that's why we give kudos to him. For me personally, I'm a member of APC. I'm one of his major sympathizers. As far as this gubernatorial election is concerned, I believe that some people in Oyo State may also be thinking, more so coupled with his remarkable performance. Right. In Oyo State, APC took everything. The presidential, the Senate, and virtually all the rep. But politics is local. Politics is local. You
believe Governor Seyi Makinde still has a grip of the local politics in Oyo State?
He has, because he has a direct connect with Oyo people.
Some have described the governor of Oyo as one man against those who you also refer to as perhaps veteran in politics in Oyo State. They say he's on a different side to those who have been there.
Let me tell you.
Would that not work against him?
The way he came in, he was outside at that particular time when he came and defeated the incumbent governor at that particular time. And he has gotten added value. Ordinarily I'm not supposed to be speaking in his
you're a political scientist. You're also analyzing facts.
And also a lawyer. I have to say the facts. I'm supposed to play politics, I play politics. But what I have to do with scientific facts, I have to do with scientific facts. But as far as concerned, the man has done very well.
Okay.
And at the same time, the man has also played what we believe the culture of Omoluabi.
Okay.
And as an Omoluabi, he deserves to have a good day.
Let's refresh the minds of viewers at this time about the outcome of the February 25th presidential election. It says Tinubu defeated 17 other candidates who took part in the election, scoring 8,794,726 votes, the highest of all candidates, and of course meeting the first constitutional requirement to be declared winner. It was also declared, it also scored 25% of the vote cast in 30 states, more than 24 states constitutionally required. You look at the runner-up, Atiku Abubakar, 6,984,520. You also find Peter Obi of the Labour Party, who came third with 6,101,533 votes. But let's take a look at the breakdown of the states won by these candidates. We've spotlighted some of them during the course of our conversation. And Tinubu won election in Rivers. He won in Borno, Jigawa, Zamfara, Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Niger, Osun, Ekiti, Ondo, Oyo, and Ogun State. Atiku won in Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Kaduna, Gombe, Yobe, Bauchi, Adamawa, and Taraba State. He also won in Osun, Akwa Ibom, and Bayelsa State. while Mr. Obi won in Edo, Cross Rivers, Delta, Lagos, FCT, Plateau, Imo, Ebonyi, Nasarawa, Anambra, Abia, and Enugu State. Mr. Kwankwaso of the NNPP won in Kano State. That's the breakdown of how the victory went in the last presidential election. And what we're talking about is perhaps whether this could have an effect on the coming poll on Saturday, the governorship, as well as the state houses of assembly election. Let's switch gears now quickly before we go on a short break to continue this conversation. The issue of Anambra State is also one, attracting interest at this time. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party is from that state. And of course, he won in that state. You also have an incumbent governor, that's Charles Soludo, who is of the APGA party at this time. Now the battle is at the State House of Assembly. And when you look at some commentaries, say Governor Charles Soludo is also racing at this time to ensure that APGA's political party holds sway at the State House of Assembly. What's your thought on that contest?
Thank you. Before I talk about the issue of Anambra, candidates at the level of presidential election, winning states, it's not a constitutional requirement as far as our constitution is concerned. 1910 constitution is concerned. APC had 12 states, PDP had 12 states, Peter Obi 11 plus FCT, and Congress.
We're just taking a look at the permutations.
That the most important is that which party has the greatest spread of the constitutional requirement of 25% in 2/3 of the states. Tinubu had no less than 30 states. That shows wide acceptability across the length and breadth of this country.
Quickly on Anambra.
And at the same time, having the majority votes, that is 50 plus 1, you will be declared the winner. And as far as the issue of Anambra is concerned, from the presidential result, and which is very dangerous for our democracy, like what former president said, President Babangida, he said, the failure of Peter Obi is the failure of regional politics. Because the Southeast showed that, there was an agreement to vote for their own. None of the states in which Peter Obi had less than 77%. And the same thing now happened in Anambra. In Anambra, is up to over 80%.
So do you think Peter Obi will be working to ensure that his party wins at the State House of Assembly?
If Labour Party and Peter Obi believing that they are going to have anything in Anambra, that they're dreaming.
Okay.
It is not going to, the scenario will not play out. Let me tell you, everybody will hold on to his own baby.
When that time comes.
Yes, when the time comes, because APGA will want to be APGA.
All right. Let's take we'll be speaking with Barrister Felix Salonge on the issue of the trend patterns during the Presidential National Assembly election, as well as the likely consequence on the Saturday election. We had also expected Barrister Shola Ebisheni, who is the chieftain of the Labour Party, as well as Afenifere, to also join us on this program. But we'll take a break now on the discussion. And of course, when we come back, we'll take the conversation to the center. And that center will be the center of excellence, Lagos State, where the race is also on. We'll be back. Please stay. welcome back. It's still State of the State on Osrc television. And now we'll switching gears and taking the conversation to the Center of Excellence that's in Lagos State. In 2019, the incumbent governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was elected as the governor of Lagos State, and in that election, according to the returning officer who, as at that time was the vice chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University, that's Professor Idokwe Ogunbodede, he announced Sanwo-Olu to have polled 739,445 votes to defeat Jimmy Agbaje of the PDP, who polled 206,141 votes. That was in 2019. The same scenario, the election is again coming up at this time, and it will be on Saturday. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is seeking a re-election in Lagos State once again, and this time we will also have to contend with other political parties to get that ticket, to get the votes of the electorate in Lagos State. But of course, the front runners in that race, which many commentaries have also mentioned, the candidate of the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party. And somewhere in the mix, there's also an Action Democratic Congress also gunning for the top seats in Lagos. Barrister Felix Alonge, let's switch this conversation to Lagos. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is like a man who, like other politicians, seeking to get, other incumbents seeking to get a re-election at this time. But what is more for him is the fact that the president-elect, who is succeeding in that state, a former governor of Lagos State, who was also referred to as a homeboy in Lagos State, lost the presidential election in Lagos. His party, the APC, did not win Lagos. And that's also, in a way, putting pressure on Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Just late yesterday and this morning, we got a statement from the Afenifere saying they are backing Babajide Sanwo-Olu for a re-election. You also find some other groups, coming to the mix to say, yes, perhaps the electorate should go the way of Babajide Sanwo-Olu rather than other candidates. For you, how intense is this race looking in Lagos?
Democracy is about political contest and to win the political power. There are so many things that are in favor of Sanwo-Olu, but thank God that there is prayer on him. And this prayer that is coming at this particular material time is for him to do well in the second term, that it is governor is not issue of a tea party. And people are watching him at a close range.
Is he handling the pressure well? Will that pressure not get to him?
He's handling the pressure very well. But one is a man of a consummate personality. Consummate in the sense that he's a man of a humility. He's a man that is he has a social attraction, showing consideration to people. And more importantly, he has extremely done well in Lagos in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of roads, in terms of railway system, in terms of health facilities, development that we have witnessed in education. Virtually in all the sectors, Lagos has taken to the level of El Dorado, maybe because of the continuity governance, and that's what we're also pitching on those states. Sanwo-Olu has done extremely well, and the variable the major factor that affected the result of APC in the presidential has to do with the issue of a religion, Muslim ticket, and in which I said earlier that most of the Pentecostal churches, out of fear that their interests may not likely to be protected, but so to say, for me, I don't believe on the issue of religion, because religion it doesn't give me job. The religion does not put food on my table. My religion, I'm a Christian, it's my relationship with my God. It has nothing to do with any general overseer. It has nothing to do with what any governor has to do for me or do for any other person. But being a major factor as far as Nigeria is concerned, where it's one of the major fault lines that politicians do exploit to make sure that they get their own bidding through. But thank God Sanwo-Olu is a Christian. And that scenario is not going to clear out at all.
So
and at the same time, you could not see that, as at yesterday, around 10, 11 political parties have also endorsed him as their candidate to be voted for.
Do you think those endorsements carry any weight? Really?
Let me tell you, it has its own positive effect. It may not be total. It sends signal to the other camp. Oh, we are not going to win this election. And the voters, oh, why will I waste my votes? If Sanwo-Olu is doing well, the issue of religion is no longer playing out in the negative for him. Oh, he's been accepted by other political parties, and all these socio-cultural groups, they are not backing him. All those things are indication that victory is on the side of Sanwo-Olu.
When you look at the intensity in which the campaign has gone in Lagos State in the last few days or weeks after the presidential election, it shows that this coming election might not be a walk in the park for Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, looking at how the APC has also been reaching out to people. And when you look at all of the states we mentioned, previously about how the presidential candidates won in all of these states, Lagos is one that appears to still be carrying that steam from the presidential election. When you look at the conversations here and there, the chances of other political parties, the Labour Party is in the mix here, is pushing a candidate, a young one, who the poll says is the youngest in that contest. And you also have the PDP, traditional opponent of the APC
yes,
or the ACN in Lagos, also in the mix.
Exactly.
Putting all of these together, how difficult could it be?
We thank God that the presidential election has come and gone, and we have been able to see the outcome of it and the implication for the party that have won the national election, that have maybe won the presidency. APC must and should do things that are democratic to ensure that Lagos is part of the states that will be the party that control the center. And I believe, and that is what is happening now, even the president-elect is working assiduously, not manipulating, but following the democratic consultation with Lagosians, that they must belong to the mainstream. They must belong to the government at the center, so that Lagos will continue to have its own fair share.
Do you think the president-elect will also be interested in other states being aligned with the center at this time?
Let me tell you, most of the states in which APC came second in the presidential election are likely to be won by APC, like Katsina, like Delta, like Edo. All those states, they want to belong to the party that controls the center, because there's advantage, particularly the way we play African politics. You know, our African politics is quite different from Western type of politics. So
you think that electorate in Lagos State, who perhaps is still not sure about where it would vote, should consider what the state stands to gain at the center?
If you mention if you gauge the political tempo in Lagos vis-a-vis how the result is going to be, at least Sanwo-Olu will not have less than 65% of the total votes in the gubernatorial election.
But it's not going to sleep yet. If you say it's going to have 65%, that should have given him the assurance to go to sleep.
That is why.
Is it sleeping?
He must not even sleep at all. He mustn't, and all the APC members must not sleep. You must deliver your unit.
The Labour Party is not sleeping. The PDP
all
just
those
recently
people that play out for Labour Party, even PDP has greater advantage than Labour Party as well. Lagos is concerned.
In this contest,
yes,
you say so?
In this contest, because the Igbos, the Igbo people in Lagos, there is majority of them, a certain number of them, are in support of Sanwo-Olu because of his performance. Because he is a man that allows human face in governance. That the good people are not being discriminated against. They feel so comfortable with Sanwo-Olu. That is going to play out for him.
Let's quickly gather space on this conversation. Just in the mix of this all happenings, Governor Akeredolu here in Ondo State also put out a message to Ondo State indigents in Lagos to say you must come out and vote for the APC. Exactly. How much of an effect do you think that will also have?
Our amiable governor is the director of the general campaign for Tinubu for Southwest. He has been performing very well, and he has delivered substantially in terms of the presidential and national assembly election. And he also wants to have a good record as far as Lagos is concerned, because Lagos is very, very critical. And that is why he has enjoyed the good people of Lagos, particularly Ondo State indigents or cities that are resident in Lagos. Oh, this is the mind of the good people of Ondo State here. You must support Sanwo-Olu. You must vote for Sanwo-Olu. And more so that on percentage basis, Ondo State, we came first across the 36 states for APC in the presidential election. And our amiable governor wants to have a repeat of that success.
Okay. And what do you make, just because of our time, what do you make of the endorsement of Afenifere also in this contest? You have perhaps to say the factions now. The message staring me in the face says, Paruba and Fashion, pitching tent with Sanwo-Olu. You also find on the other hand, Adebanjo also, going another way. Does this really have an effect on the scheme of things? Quickly.
Let me tell you, from the political configuration and paradigm as far as Yoruba is concerned, you cannot situate Fashion with Adebanjo.
Adebanjo is the leader of Afenifere.
Let me tell you, he has political animosity towards a particular person, and which is historical. It's not what he's saying, it's not because of Yoruba interest. It's not projecting Yoruba interest, but it's more or less personality is personality issue as far as that area is a concern. But whatever in the wisdom of our revered Fashion is the man that will speak what the Yorubas want at this material time. And that is why so that with the Yorubas, Lagos is part of us. Lagos must be part of the fold to be controlled.
Okay, let's now.
I know it's a statement. Is going to have positive effect as far as the voting pattern.
Having gone to so many other states across the country, let's bring this conversation closer here. And it's in Ondo State. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu is not seeking re-election.
Exactly.
Yes, but 26 seats at the Ondo State House of Assembly is up for grabs come Saturday, and that's where the people will also be exercising their franchise. And you're a player in this politics here in Ondo State.
Yes.
What's the task like for all of the parties involved? The PDP could not win in Ondo State in the presidential election. In 2019, they won the states, but fast forward, the last time out, they did not win. Don't you think there could be a resurgence on the part of the PDP for this State House of Assembly election?
So, thank you. I told you the result of Ondo State, along with other states, that we came first in the presidential election. And in the National Assembly election, we had the three seats in the Senate. And for the House of Rep, we had 8 out of 9. So that coming to the election of the 26 members of House of Assembly in Ondo State, by the grace of God, we are going to have a repeat of that victory, 26/26, because Governor Akeredolu has performed excellently well. Though his performance is always excellent, but he doesn't want to be called His Excellency, only Mr. Governor. And the fact that the governor is not on the ballot, but behind the scene is also on the ballot, because this is the House of Assembly is very critical to his administration. The House of Assembly is the legislative arm of government.
So you believe the governor is also working behind the scene?
Not even behind the scene, directly involved. And everyone of us is directly involved. He has to, the governor has to, this is his own election. And
this is not the governorship election.
It's not governorship. You think it will be so easy for the president-elect if he has failed to have dominance in the National Assembly? The same thing is happening at the state level.
So you believe Governor Akeredolu is also racing like other incumbent governors who are not?
Even more than that, because we must control the state so that his performance will be more than what he is doing. He's going to do better because he needs vibrant House of Assembly members, because the pedigree and the credentials of most of our candidates are superlative.
Other candidates, other political parties will also preach this, that they have excellent candidates up for display.
You know what is going to help us along with the quality of our candidates is the back-wagon effect, because we cannot afford to lose a single seat, because every constituency wants to have a fair share of the dividends of democracy and governance at the state level and the national level.
The APC lost a seat in the National Assembly.
Yes.
That's one loss. And you say you do not want to lose one.
You know, that is national. They are going to Abuja. But that we have gotten a fair result as far as that one is concerned. Let me tell you, no community, no constituency will want to be outside the circle of the success. I want my own constituency. I'll go Southwest Constituency 1. And I'll go Southwest Constituency 2. Because I'm the general campaign for Tinubu, for the Senate, for the Rep, for the House of Assembly. And that is why I'm working assiduously. And we are getting the support of Mr. Governor. We are getting the support of our leader, Right Honorable Labiton, in Akko Southwest, and other leaders, that we must win this election through a democratic process, not any manipulation. Okay. That is why we make sure that house to house and across across the 26 constituency, our leaders, they are working, and I really appreciate our state chairman, Engineer Aditimen.
Who is your strongest opponent in this race? You're a member of the APC.
Yes.
Who is your major opponent in this race? Yeah, about 17 political parties across the 26 constituency fielding candidates.
As far as Ondo State is concerned as of today, I don't think other parties do exist. They don't. And we always appreciate the good people of Ondo State that, they will. At least our governor has spoken, and they know that Mr. Governor is always there for the good people of Ondo State. And the good people, we have to reciprocate also by voting for APC.
Let's close this conversation, Barrister Felix Alonge, quickly because of our time. INEC has distributed sensitive election materials just yesterday to the 18 local government areas. I also believe in other states have done the same. As a politician, you witnessed the last election.
Yes.
What are your expectations for the electoral umpire come Saturday? In about 1 minute.
Yeah, INEC, Nigerians will put high hope for them to perform, and that the votes of the people must count. The little teething problems, INEC have promised to resolve those issues, and think INEC has.
And you're confident?
Yes, I'm confident.
Right.
But the other aspect I want to say is that they must distribute the electoral materials early enough.
All right.
Because
INEC is listening.
The issue is that the distribution is very, very critical.
All right.
Because and at the same time, the parties, particularly the party agents, must be punctual at the various locations in which most materials will be distributed. Because if they are not there, in most cases, when the INEC officials are ready and the party agents of political parties are not ready, they will not be able to leave. All right,
Barrister Felix Alonge, we are totally out of time. Thank you so much. Barrister Felix Alonge is chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, also a political scientist, and we've been able to take a look at the trends and patterns during the presidential and national assembly elections, the consequences or the ripple effect on the March the 18th Saturday election. across the country. In Ondo State here, about 1.7 million registered voters who have PVCs are also expected to be out come Saturday. I'm Sahid Aribisala. Do have a lovely day. Bye-bye.